Alrighty, so I'm going to do my wound care video. So first, you want to do your hand hygiene. So you're going to wash your hands, saying happy birthday twice, making sure you're getting through all the creases of your hand, and make sure you're taking off all rings and jewelry and watches. You're going to grab a paper towel. Then you're going to turn off the water with the paper towel. And then you're going to throw it away. So next, we're coming into an isolation room. So we got our gowns. Okay. Alright, so you're going to put on your gowns. You want to make sure you're touching the inside only. And get my hand through there. Small holes. Usually, so if we have the gowns with the finger hole, we want to put our finger through the that thumb hole there. But alrighty, let me get that situated. And then you are gonna tie. You're gonna tie the gown behind you. And of course, yeah, so we're in isolation, so we're following all standard precautions. So hand hygiene, gown, gloves. There we go. Okay. So next, we're gonna get our gloves. Always want to make sure they're over the gown so nothing can get through. And of course, you're doing this before entering the room. So right outside the door, and now I'm going to come in. So here's my patient. So right now I'm in a non-sterile field. So first, we're going to open up our pad for our sterile field. Okay, and then just by the corner here, toss this in my garbage. So you want to just grab the corners. Again, so you don't want to touch the inside at all. Wish this was easier to open up. There we go. Alrighty. So I got my sterile field. I'm gonna move my patient a little bit that way. Alrighty. So now what we're gonna do, so this is our sterile field, so we're not gonna touch anything up on here because I'm not sterile. We are gonna go ahead and put our sterile supplies on this field. So we got our film, so we're gonna drop that on there, so we're not gonna touch it. We got our gauze sponges. So again, open that up and drop it onto our field. Again, that can go in the trash. And then we got our tray. Our tray, again, that can go. So we're gonna dump all the supplies in the tray onto the field. And then we're gonna keep the tray off to the side here. So yeah, so it's gonna be over on the side here. I know it's a little bit off the screen, because we're gonna use that for our saline water solution. So the inside of that is still sterile, the outside is not, so we're gonna keep it way at the edge of our field. Then Q-tips. Then we got our other pack of Q-tips. And so that is everything we need in our field. So And then we got the ABD pad, and then we got the tape that is not going to go in our sterile field, so we'll use that towards the end when we're done dressing, or done doing our dressing on the patient. And then I'm going to open our sterile water. Oh, they're not open the best for me. Okay. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to pour that into our tray. And again, we don't need to use all of it. So let's put that out and steer it out of the way. Okay, so now I got everything that I need onto my sterile field. So now I'm going to put on my sterile gloves. And I'm going to grab by the outs. Gonna grab our little tray out. Again, I apologize for not fully being on the, but I'm gonna open it up like this without touching the gloves. Fold the plastic straps out of the way. That can go in the garbage. And now what I'm gonna do is grabbing the outside of the glove. Put on again, not on the outside at all. And then with the other one, I'm going to scoop underneath here. Again, without touching the outside of the gloves, we're going to scoop that over these. Okay, so now that I got my sterile field, my hands have to stay above my waist and over the treatment area at all times. So now we're going to get on to expecting our wound. So I'm going to remove our dressing. Alright, so just to inspect here, we got a little bit of purulent on the side here. We got a lot of serous on the outside. We got some serous sanguinous in the middle here. A little bit of sanguinous blood. It's a little dried up now, but so we got a little bit of everything on here. And just to check for leaking, we got a little bit of leaking that went through. So after inspecting that, that can go in our garbage. So now what I'm gonna just do a little inspection of the wound. So there is some blood discharge in the middle here. A little bit of eschar out here. I already do see some lipping, and I do see some tunneling. So we'll be measuring that. But first, what we want to do is we're gonna clean. Just do a little bit of a cleaning of this wound. So with my forceps, I'm gonna get one of our gauze into the saline solution and do a slight little clean. Oop. Okay. So let the saline drip out. Okay, I'm gonna do a nice little cleaning. So I'm going to go circular around the wound. Okay. And then that can go in the garbage. Alright. So now that we got the wound cleaned up, we are going to go ahead and look at some of the tunneling and the measuring. So, like I said, I see some tunneling here. So, put me too small for the Q-tip, so I can turn that around and measure there. And then I'll go ahead and put it to the side of my packaging. And I would say that tunneling is at about a little bit more, so I'd say 1.2 centimeters. And then, so the head is up here. I would say that tunneling is at about 9 o'clock. And then now we'll do the same thing. So we got a little bit of lipping over here. So I'll go ahead and put my Q-tip underneath that. Put my finger. And again, so when you're going over the measurement, you're not going to be touching it because it's not sterile. That's going to be at 6 millimeters. And that's going from 11 to 12 o'clock. Okay, so that is going to go in the garbage. I got more Q-tips. Alrighty. So now now that we measured the tunneling and that we measured the undermining or the lipping, we are gonna measure the wound at its hole. So again, I'm gonna just touch the side here. I'm gonna lay that over our wound, and looking at the diameter, so it looks like the wound is 4 centimeters of diameter. And then again, I'm gonna use this, so I got a little bit of eschar here. I'm gonna try to get that at the right spot. And the eschar is about 1.1 centimeter. And that's gonna be at 4 o'clock. Alright, so I'm gonna lay that back on, still sterile. So, other things to inspect, so the wound bed, looking at the granulation tissue, we do got a little bit of granulation tissue. We have a lot of sanguinous discharge in our wound, so that's something we want to clean up more. And then we got a little bit of eschar, which is what I just measured. So our wound was present with tunneling, lipping, and eschar. And then you'd also want to inspect the peri wound, making sure you're monitoring edema in different colors that you can be aware of in the skin in the peri wound, and looking at the maceration, making sure that's all looking good and clean, and any debridement that we'd have to do. So now that we inspected the wound, we measured the wound, so we are gonna go ahead and redress the wound. So what we're gonna do, so with the forceps, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my gauze, and we're gonna do a light dressing, so I'm gonna put that right over the wound. I'm gonna drop that back in. And now I have to exit the sterile field, and I gotta go into my non-sterile field to place the ABD pad and the tape. So I'm gonna grab my ABD pad here, open that up. So blue's on the outside, the line, so that means it's outside. I'm gonna grab it by the tray, and mine opened up nice and pretty. I'll throw that away. And now what we're gonna do, so without touching the inside, I'm gonna go ahead and place the ABD pad over our gauze. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab our tape. Again, so if my gloves were soiled or anything like that, I'd want to take them off because this tape would be staying in the room due to the isolation precautions. Like you said, it likes to stick to the gloves, so I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a couple pieces here. Alright, so yep, like I said, this is gonna be staying in the room. And now we're gonna go ahead and seal our wound. Alrighty, so we got our wound taped, redressed, and so now I'm gonna go ahead before I exit the room. Right before I exit the room, I'm gonna take off all my precautions, my gown and my gloves. So again, I'll take my sterile gloves off first. Again, not touching the outside of those. Those can go in the trash. And now I'm gonna tear off the gown. I'm going to roll it off on the inside. And while I'm on the inside here, I'm going to bring my gloves off right with it. Again, this is going to be when I'm outside of the room. I'm not going to be in front of the patient before I exit the room. So that's all inside. I'm going to throw that out. I'm going to wash my hands and tell the patient to have a good day.